Welcome back to our Rise Primetime, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Somna Sambo. Well, it's been quite an eventful run to the primaries of the three biggest political parties in Nigeria as they gear up for the Edo State governorship election in September. Now, as it stands, the immediate past president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Olumide Akpata, has just emerged as the Labour Party flag bearer for the Edo September governorship poll. Akpata polled a total of 316 votes, while Kenneth Maswagbon is said to have trailed in a distant second with 7 votes, even though, as we hear, that there were also plans for him to hold a parallel primary. That's Kenneth Maswagbon elsewhere. Well, over at the All Progressives Congress, Monday Okpebolo, the senator representing Edo Central, has been declared the candidate of the party for the governorship election. Cross River State Governor and chairman of the APC supplementary primary election, Basi Otu, declared Okpebolo the victor of the exercise. Governor Otu said Okpebolo polled 12,433 votes to defeat 11 other aspirants. Before this rerun, there were 3 candidates laying claim to the party's ticket after Governor Hope Uzodimma had declared a serving member of the House of Representatives, Dennis Idahosa, winner of the earlier primary. Well, in the PDP, we've just heard that Asue Ighodalo has also won the primaries there. Ighodalo was elected at the delegate election of the party held at the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium. But the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, held a parallel primary elsewhere and was declared the parallel winner. Interesting times ahead. Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined in the studio by Honorable Cletus Obun, who is an APC chieftain and academic and former lawmaker. He's also a former member of the Public Affairs Directorate of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, which is now defunct. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, well, so help us to x-ray all these developments that have been happening. It's been interesting times, actually, in Edo State. I mean, just party primaries. Let's start from your own political party, the APC. How could we have had this happening? Although your APC is trying to claim that Governor Hope Uzodimma wasn't removed, he only went to the neck yesterday, so he was replaced by Governor Otu to actually just help conclude, not that he was actually removed. How could we have a situation where Dennis Idahosa was announced and Monday Okpebolo is now declared winner?
Well, I can tell you that is democracy in action. It also shows us we are evolving, but there is a sad commentary to it, which is the fact that that we're having these on postures that people are interested and people are becoming more and more active. Before now, people like Akpata from MBA would just sit back there, senior advocate, he has no business with politics. So now quality people are coming out, therefore the contestation is bound to be very robust. And that means it will throw up the very best that you have in the system. So you look at the 3 people being paraded, or 4 of them, even if you bring the deputy governor from PDP, you find that they are quality people that you cannot say, oh, we don't know this. Everybody has a pedigree. You can refer to their past, and you can identify them and say, this will do well, this will not. You can give a guess. So for me, it throws open the political space, and it gives us an opportunity to take the best of the best to run a state. But in the case of APC, for example, there were genuine concerns. And of course, APC has learnt its lessons, in which you lost an entire state, like Zamfara. You lost on the eve of a swearing in of a governor in Bayelsa State. We lost on account of not listening to people. So those banana peels can no longer be confronting a particular party and you keep dropping yourself on the same spot for the same reasons over and over again. It means you are learning nothing. So when there were genuine concerns from serious party members from the state, and of course, for people like Adams Oshomole, the senator, the comrade governor, he should know, and he knows better than just shoving them aside and then taking his personal interest to become the interest of the state. So they gave the concessions and everybody went back. And you can see there's less crisis.
You think so?
There is less. No, I can tell you, yeah, definitely the bitterness will be there. I didn't say there's no problem. I said there are less crisis now because the tension that would have been generated if that first one was not cancelled when 3 people were laying claims Presently, you are not seeing anybody laying claims. So others are saying, look, we didn't see this, we didn't see that, which is the normal outcry after an election of this nature, because the major elections is coming. So if you ignore the things that happen in the primaries, and that is the point I want to discuss this night, that I am no longer going to be interested. We didn't go into the trenches in 1993 to fight for people to come and mess up the system the way they are trying to do it. If people are not ready, you cannot be claiming you want democracy and you don't want the ingredients of democracy to play out. I am not happy in the first place that first resources are being wasted, time is being wasted, human efforts are being wasted, and this government has other major issues, and major players are affected in all this. The governor of Imo State left his state, the governor of Cross River State, my own governor, left his own state. There are several things going on in the state. He has to leave it to come here to resolve a primary that could have even been done without interference. And I think we have to change our system in involving state actors, especially in the state executive. Our constitution requires that the national executive of the party, NEC, through the National Working Committee, conducts primaries in states concerning governorship and all the elections. But you discover that there is a limitation on account of logistics. That logistics is, it can no longer be sustained. That is to say, you cannot be asking the federal to come, the national executive to come and conduct the primaries and use the state executive committee now to dictate who goes to return election in local governments and what, especially in the kind of primaries they went, direct primaries, in which every single registered member of the party gets. I remember that Oshomole was about to give us permanent voters card, and
that's while he was APC national chairman.
Okay. And the person who succeeded him, again, the former governor of Edo State, also attempted to give us a permanent card in which you can stay from your phone, and if we can generate our BVN from our phones, why can't we generate our party membership forms from our phones? That you now need to go and start traveling and showing people cards. So anybody can just pick a slip and come here and claim that his name is Cletus Obun.
Yeah, and one of the major challenges with the APC is that it's a mode of primary election, the direct primaries. People say over time that it's been the major reason for some of the crises that you have. Shouldn't the APC be considering going back to the issues of indirect primary? I mean, if you look, I'm not saying that one doesn't have its own problem, but people are beginning to say that it looks like that has a lesser challenge than that of direct primaries.
The delegates election generates exclusion, and that is why the party gave that option, unless it becomes extremely important. For instance, this is a staggered election. It's an off-season election, so you have all the time to get to the wards, to the polling units. After all, if you say that to choose your candidate, you don't want party members to vote, will you also exclude them from voting in the main election?
Well, if that's the case, how come Dennis Idahosa was declared with about 40-something thousand votes, and then we are hearing that Monday Okpebolo was announced winner with 12,000 votes? So that means something actually happened.
The apathy developed immediately after it was cancelled. So less people are bound to come out. We've done this thing, why are they wasting our time? I'm not going again. That's what happened, because it was within 24 hours. So it is easy for people to get tired and even to bring them to ward center. My ward, for example, where I come from, there are 18 villages that you need about 4 hours to trek into. You can never access it with any bike. So if you ask people to come back to the ward center, it's a day's job for them. So, and I know places like Okpela, I know places in Southern Edo, for example, that if you are going to go there in places like Esako, in those Esako areas, they are virtually inaccessible, especially with the nature of roads now, the security situation, and then people took all their time. They were given over a month to prepare for that primaries. And after doing that, you are asking them to come back to the ward center to be voted for.
Well, wasn't that a strategy actually to prevent maybe the other people from voting? Because if you had 40,000, I'm just being, rational here, because if 40,000 people were said to have elected the first candidate before the primary was actually declared inconclusive, how come 12,000? I mean, that's like one third of that number of people actually come, because people are beginning to ask questions too. And they are saying that, look, wouldn't it also be a recipe for crisis? Because it looks like Oshomole's preferred candidate was actually defeated. Will there be peace for the APC ahead of the governorship election?
Well, if you know the man called Comrade Oshomole, he has played the politics of personal sacrifice. Any other person, the circumstances under which he left as national chairman, will never have participated in politics again. and not to talk about this. Oshomole is known in Nigeria for being Labour Party president, Labour president, not for being governor even. Governor didn't give him a percentage of the kind of popularity he has in Nigeria today. Therefore, he has very little need for partisan politics. But you can see that he has resonated with the people right from then. So if you think that there will be a crisis, he is ready to make those sacrifices that he has always made.
You think so?
He has always done
what
that.
Former Governor Fayemi said? That's one of the major reasons that the APC has been having crisis in Edo State is because of the personal desires of someone like Comrade Adams Oshomole. I mean, over the years, that actually led to what led to APC losing Obaseki to the PDP.
That is why I participated. I was the chairman media committee for that election in 2020. I was the chairman of the media committee, so I know the story well. APC fought APC to a standstill just to stop Oshomole on account of this very precedent. They anticipated him then that as national president, he would give the ticket to Asiwaju. And in order to prevent him...
As national chairman, you mean?
Yes, as national chairman. So to stop him, they did everything. For a man who stabilized the party from what happened to us in 2015, in which we won an election and had an opposition within the party in the National Assembly. And he came by 2019, stabilized all that for us, got us all the places that we were having crisis, and brought us to the point where party was funding election campaigns for candidates. Immediately after the primaries, each federal house member got a 10 million. Each state house member got 5 million to go and do campaign. When the election proper came, each of them got the similar amount from the forms that were bought. No other party chairman had done that. The last time we saw that was when government was paying us in SDP and RC. That's the last time we saw that. So if you carry such a man and start making, let it not become a campaign for him, but I'm saying to you that he is ready to make the sacrifice. He has made more bitter sacrifices than what we're having today. So Edo will be less of a problem. Like I said, we have learned from the past, because that bitter battle led a section of the governors to gang up and ensure that we lost just to spite Oshomole. They were cutting their noses to spite their face. APC, it was APC against APC.
All right, just before I let you go, Cletus Obun, do you think that Monday Okpebolo, senator representing Edo Central, is actually a match for someone like Olumide Akpata or someone like Asue Godalo?
I'm saying, he's a serving senator.
In the PDP and Labour Party.
Are you aware that he's a serving senator?
Yeah, he's a serving senator.
So he didn't get there by appointment. He got there by elections. So what we are dealing with here is a clash of giants. A clash of giants. Pound for pound, they can go for each other. Olumide Akpata more on the personal character than for his party. You can see. Now, the point I'm making this night, and I must make this before I leave the studio, what we are seeing is what is giving the party and the parties, all the political parties, and indeed our polity, the unnecessary tension. At a point when Nigerians are struggling to get a cup of rice, people are busy discussing primaries that should be done quietly and not to start spiting. What the parties are doing is what gives the judiciary the crisis it has. And the next thing will start. So look at what the PDP people are telling themselves. There are two candidates as we speak.
Parallel primaries.
Parallel primaries.
Philip Shaibu.
APC was able to stop
and
it.
Even Labour Party almost had
having
that.
That.
We heard that
their party chairman is endangered.
Kenneth Maswagbon, one of the aspirants.
I saw him complaining bitterly.
Yeah.
The PDP man is also complaining. The two PDP people are still complaining outside of the deputy governor. The other two are also complaining that he couldn't have polled this amount and that he comes from Northern Edo, polled this number of votes for the president and could not come down to the same people who couldn't vote for him. And therefore it was not transparent. That is PDP. Then when somebody among them now goes to court and the judiciary looking at their own laws, their own statutes, now takes a decision, you start abusing and haranguing and making a beast out of the judiciary. I think that the parties must learn from these lessons. It happened in Plateau, it happened to APC in Zamfara, it happened to APC in... Today, they are starting in Edo. This matters will end up in the Supreme Court, and they'll start telling you about how this one is a Supreme Court governor or a Supreme Court senator. This is the foundation of what has been happening to us. So the parties must take and rise to the occasion and obey their own laws. When you said it is and the constitution must be amended and the electoral act as well, such that primaries will not be regulated by law. Because leaving it to the parties have demonstrated that the parties' rascality sometimes can be overbearing and hits up the system.
Most thank you so much, Cletus. Obun is chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, and of course he has helped us to understand some of the issues going on within the party, and of course within some other political parties too. It's been a very tough challenge for some of the parties to hold primaries without challenges. We've heard of parallel primaries being held separately from that organized by the national headquarters of the political parties.